The cold metal walls of New Seoul Station hummed with dying power. Deep in the medical bay, a single cryopod glowed with soft blue light. Inside, Kang Dae slept the dreamless sleep of the frozen. He had been sleeping for 50 years. The pod's systems finally ran out of backup power. Warning lights flashed red as the temperature began to rise. Ice crystals melted away from Dae's face. His chest moved up and down as his body slowly came back to life. His eyes opened. Dae sat up slowly. His muscles felt weak and strange. The air tasted old and stale. He looked around the empty medical bay. Where was everyone? The station should be full of people, doctors, nurses, his friends from the research team. But he saw no one. He stood up on shaky legs. His body felt different. Stronger somehow. The neural implant behind his ear buzzed and came online. Information flooded into his mind. His heart stopped. Earth was gone. Not just damaged. Gone. Turned to ash and floating rocks. Every human city burned. Every human ship destroyed. Every man, woman, and child dead. All except him. The data files told the story. The Galactic Council had decided humanity was too dangerous. Humans grew too fast, learned too quickly, and asked too many questions. They never followed the rules that other species accepted, so the galaxy had voted. Humanity must die. The war lasted only 3 days. The combined fleets of 40 different alien species attacked at once. Earth had no chance. The human colonies fell first, then the homeworld. New Seoul Station was forgotten, too small to matter. So Dae slept while his entire species burned. He walked to the observation deck on legs that barely held him up. Through the thick glass, he could see what used to be Earth. Now it was just rocks and dust floating in space. The blue and green world he remembered was gone forever. Dae fell to his knees. The weight of being alone hit him like a physical blow. He was the last human in the universe. Everyone he had ever known was dead. His parents, his sister, his friends, all the billions of people who had lived and laughed and dreamed on that beautiful blue world. All dead. He stayed there for hours, crying until no more tears would come. Then something inside him changed. The grief became something else. Something cold and hard and angry. The neural implant in his head contained more than just information. It held something else: battle plans, weapon designs, fighting techniques from the greatest human warriors who had ever lived. His species had prepared him for this moment. They had made him into something more than human. Dae stood up and wiped his eyes. He walked to the station's control room and sat down at the main console. His fingers moved across the controls with surprising skill. The station's systems came online one by one. Weapons that had been sleeping for 50 years began to charge. Shields that could stop small moons flickered to life. The long-range sensors detected them first. Ships, hundreds of them, coming from every direction. The galaxy's best hunters, all coming for him. They had found the last human at last. A message came through on all communication channels. The voice was cold and mechanical, translated by computer from an alien language. "Human, you are Kang Dae, the last of your kind. We know you are on that station. Your species was judged guilty of crimes against galactic peace." The sentence was, "Extinction. You are the final witness to that justice. Surrender now and your death will be quick." Dae looked at the hundreds of ships closing in on his position. Each one carried weapons that could destroy planets. Each crew was trained to kill humans. They expected to find a broken, crying survivor who would beg for mercy. Instead, they found something else entirely. Dae's hands moved across the control panel. His neural implant fed him information faster than any normal human could process. Weapon targeting systems locked onto the approaching ships. Energy readings that should have been impossible began building throughout the station. "My name is Kang Dae," he said into the communication system. His voice was calm and steady. "I am the last human alive. My people are dead because you feared what we might become. You killed them all to feel safe. The alien ships were getting closer. Their weapons were charging. Soon they would open fire. You made one mistake," Dae continued. You left me alive, and my people prepared me for this day. They gave me everything they knew about war. Every trick, every weapon, every way to fight that humans ever discovered. I am not just the last human. I am the final lesson my species will teach you. The first alien ship fired. A beam of pure energy shot toward the station. It should have cut through the shields like paper. Instead, it bent around the station and flew harmlessly into space. The aliens had never seen shields like these. Day smiled grimly. The expression held no warmth or joy. It was the smile of a predator who had been waiting 50 years for prey to arrive. You wanted to make sure humanity could never threaten you again, he said. But you only made me more dangerous than any human has ever been. I am alone, but I am not helpless. I am the last echo of Earth, and I will make sure that echo is loud enough for the entire galaxy to hear. New Sol Station erupted with weapons fire. Beams of energy that could crack moons shot out in perfect patterns. Missiles that moved faster than light streaked toward the alien ships. The weapons were beyond anything the galaxy had ever seen before. The first wave of alien ships simply disappeared. Not destroyed, not damaged. Gone. Erased from existence by human technology that had been sleeping for 50 years. The remaining ships tried to retreat, but it was too late. D had been waiting for this moment his entire life, even if he had not known it. His species had died to give him this chance. He would not waste it. The battle for New Sol Station had begun. The last human was no longer hiding. The galaxy was about to learn why they had been right to fear humanity in the first place. But they were also about to learn that killing an entire species only makes the survivors infinitely more dangerous. Commander Rex Volan had never failed a mission in his 20 years of service. His ship, the Starbreaker, was the pride of the hegemony fleet. His crew had taken down rebel planets and ended 3 different wars. Today, they were hunting one, human. It should have been simple. Rex watched through his command screen as the first wave of ships approached New Sol Station. The human was trapped on a small research station with basic weapons. The battle would be over in minutes. Then Rex could return home and tell his children how he killed the last human in the galaxy. The first ships reached weapon range. Rex expected to see the station surrender or beg for mercy. Instead, he saw something impossible. Light erupted from every surface of the human station, not normal weapon fire. This was something different. The light bent and twisted through space like living things. When it touched the first alien ships, they simply stopped existing. Not exploded, not destroyed. They became nothing, as if they had never been built. "What kind of weapons are those?" Rex asked his science officer. "I do not know, sir. The energy readings are beyond our understanding. The human station is producing power equal to a small star." Rex felt cold fear in his stomach. This was not going according to plan. He opened communication channels to the other fleet commanders. "All ships, maintain distance. Do not approach the station until we understand these weapons." But it was too late. The human was not waiting for them to figure out his defenses. More beams of impossible light shot out from the station. Each beam found its target with perfect accuracy. In 10 minutes, half the hegemony fleet was gone. Admiral Su Jin commanded the crystalline Dominion fleet from her flagship, the Diamond Edge. Her people were made of living crystal and could see patterns in energy that other species missed. What she saw around the human station terrified her. "The human is not just defending," she reported to the other commanders. "He is studying us, learning our tactics, our weapons, our weaknesses. Every shot we fire teaches him how to fight us better." Commander Rex did not want to believe it. One human could not learn faster than their entire combined fleet. But the evidence was clear. The human's weapons were adapting to their shields. His targeting was becoming more precise. His attacks were finding weaknesses they did not know they had. "How is this possible?" Rex demanded. "We do not know," Su Jin replied. "But we are not fighting one human. We are fighting the combined knowledge of his entire species. Somehow he has access to everything humans ever learned about war." The battle continued for 6 hours. More fleets arrived from across the galaxy. The insectoid hive clusters brought their swarm ships. The Photon Empire sent their energy beings who could move at light speed. The mechanical forge worlds deployed their planet-killer robots. None of it mattered. The human destroyed them all. Kang Day sat in the control room of New Sol Station, his hands moving across controls faster than any normal human could manage. His neural implant fed him information from thousands of sensors. He could see every ship, track every weapon, predict every move the aliens would make. But it was more than just technology. Something else was happening inside his mind. He could feel the presence of other humans. Not alive, but not gone either. The voices of every human who had ever fought for their species were with him now. He remembered battles he had never seen, strategies from generals who died before he was born. The desperate last stands of colony defenders filled his thoughts. Every human who had ever refused to surrender was teaching him how to fight. The aliens kept coming. They brought bigger ships and stronger weapons. They tried new tactics and different approaches. Nothing worked. Day learned from every attack and became deadlier with each passing hour. "Sir," his communication officer reported, "we are receiving surrender offers from 12 different fleets." Day almost laughed. They came here to kill the last human, and now they wanted to surrender. But he was not finished teaching them their lesson. "Tell them," Day said quietly, "that they should have thought about surrender before they burned my world." Captain Young Mi was the hegemony's best psychological warfare specialist. She had broken the will of entire civilizations with her mind games. Her job was to make the human give up without fighting. She began broadcasting images from Earth's final days. The burning cities, the fleeing civilians, the moment when the blue sky turned black with smoke. She wanted the human to see what he had lost. She wanted him to despair. But the broadcasts had the opposite effect. With each image of his dead world, Day became more focused, more dangerous. His attacks became more precise and more devastating. The grief was not weakening him. It was making him stronger. "Stop the broadcasts," Rex ordered. "We are only making him angrier." By the end of the first day, 17 different fleets had tried to destroy New Sol Station. The casualty reports made terrible reading. Over 3 million alien soldiers dead or missing. Their best ships reduced to floating scrap metal, all by one human who refused to die. Rex sat in his command chair, staring at the tactical display. The human station was still there, undamaged and fully operational. Around it floated the wreckage of the galaxy's proudest fleets. "Sir," his tactical officer said quietly, "we are receiving new orders from the Galactic Council. They are sending the Starkiller weapons." Rex felt his blood turn to ice. Starkillers were weapons that could destroy entire solar systems. They had only been used twice in galactic history, both times to stop universe-ending threats. The Council was so afraid of one human that they were willing to crack space itself to kill him. "May the ancestors forgive us," Rex whispered. "What have we created?" The answer came from New Sol Station. Day's voice, calm and cold, reached every ship in the system. "You came here to finish what you started 50 years ago. You thought killing my species would make you safe. Instead, you have taught me why humans were dangerous in the first place. We never knew when to quit. We never accepted that something was impossible. And we never, ever forgot our enemies." The station began to move, not with engines or thrusters, but by bending space around itself. The human had technology that made the laws of physics into suggestions. "You want to kill the last human?" Day continued. "Good luck. You are going to need it." Fleet Admiral Hyunwoo had commanded fleets for 30 years. He had seen the rise and fall of civilizations. He had fought in wars that lasted centuries and won battles that saved entire species. But the report on his desk made him feel like a frightened child. The tactical analysis was clear and terrifying. One human had destroyed 17 different fleets in a single day. The galaxy's best weapons were useless against him. Their finest strategists looked like beginners compared to his tactical ability, and worst of all, he was getting stronger. "How is this possible?" Hyunwoo asked his science team. No single being should have this much power. Dr. Min A, his chief scientist, pulled up holographic displays showing the humans' capabilities. Sir, we believe the humans prepared their final survivor for exactly this situation. His body has been modified beyond anything we have ever seen. His reflexes operate outside normal time. His brain can process information faster than our best computers. But that is not the worst part, she continued. Our analysis suggests he is not fighting alone. Somehow he has access to the accumulated military knowledge of his entire species. Every battle humans ever fought, every strategy they ever developed, every desperate trick they ever used to survive. All of it lives inside his mind. Hyunwoo stared at the data. The implications were staggering. You are saying he fights with the skill of every human warrior who ever lived? That is exactly what we are saying, sir. He is not one human. He is the final expression of everything his species ever learned about war. The siege of New Seoul Station entered its third month. The Galactic Council had sent everything they had. Planet-killer ships, reality-bending weapons, fleets that could conquer entire star systems. None of it worked. The human destroyed everything they sent at him. Captain Youngmi tried a different approach. Instead of trying to break his spirit, she tried to understand his mind. She studied recordings of the battle, looking for patterns in his behavior. What she found scared her more than any weapon. He is not fighting randomly, she reported to the command staff. Every move he makes serves a larger purpose. He is not just defending himself, he is teaching us a lesson. What kind of lesson? Admiral Hyunwoo asked. That extinction has consequences. Every ship he destroys, every fleet he defeats, he does it in a way that shows us exactly what we lost when we killed his species. He is demonstrating human creativity, human adaptability, human refusal to accept defeat. He is showing us what we could have learned from them if we had not chosen fear instead. The other commanders exchanged worried looks. They had expected to fight a desperate survivor. Instead, they were facing a teacher who was using their own fleets as examples in a classroom lesson they did not want to learn. Kang Dae stood in the observation deck of New Seoul Station, looking out at the endless fleet of enemy ships surrounding him. 3 months of constant battle had not tired him. If anything, he felt more alive than he ever had before. The voices in his head were clearer now, not just the voices of human warriors, but of human dreamers too. Scientists who had pushed the boundaries of knowledge, artists who had created beauty in impossible places, children who had asked questions that changed the world. He was not just the last human. He was the repository of everything his species had ever been. The communication system buzzed. Another surrender offer from another defeated fleet commander. Day ignored it. He had learned something important about his enemies. They were not evil. They were afraid. They had destroyed humanity not out of hatred but out of terror of what humans might become. That fear had created exactly what they were trying to prevent. Computer, Day said to the station's AI, show me the casualty reports. The numbers appeared on his screen. 3 million alien soldiers dead, thousands of ships destroyed, entire species military forces reduced to nothing, all because they had come to kill one human who refused to die. But Day felt no satisfaction from the numbers. Each death was a lesson unlearned. Each destroyed ship was potential wasted. His species had always believed that any problem could be solved through learning and growth. The galaxy had chosen destruction instead. Sir, the AI said, we are detecting massive energy buildups throughout the system. The enemy fleets are preparing something new. Day studied the sensor readings. Starkiller weapons. The galaxy was so desperate to stop him that they were willing to destroy entire solar systems. They would rather crack reality itself than admit they had made a mistake. Interesting, Day said quietly. They still do not understand. He walked to the station's central control room and began entering commands. The station's most advanced systems came online. Technology that human scientists had developed in secret, preparing for this exact moment. New Seoul Station began to change. The metal walls flowed like liquid, reshaping themselves into new configurations. The entire structure grew larger, more complex, more dangerous. It was not just a space station anymore. It was becoming something the galaxy had never seen before. War Master Tae-hyun commanded the Void Hunters, a species that had never known fear. They were born in the darkness between stars and lived for battle. Nothing in the galaxy scared them. Until, "Now what is that thing becoming?" one of his officers whispered. Through their ship's sensors, they watched the human station transform. It was growing tentacles of metal and energy that reached out into space. Its weapons were multiplying and evolving. Most disturbing of all, it was beginning to move with purpose and intelligence. It is not just a station anymore, Tae-hyun realized. It is alive. The human's voice echoed through space, reaching every ship in the system. "You came here to kill. The last human because you were afraid of what my species might become. You destroyed my world because you could not accept that some questions should be asked. You committed genocide because you chose fear over understanding." The transformed station pulsed with energy that bent space around it. "Now you will learn the price of that choice. I am no longer just the last human. I am evolution itself. I am what my species becomes when you try to make us extinct. I am the future you were so afraid of that you killed an entire world to prevent it." The Starkiller weapons fired. Beams of energy that could crack planets shot toward the station. They should have destroyed everything in the system. Instead, the beams curved around the station and flew harmlessly into empty space. The human had made himself untouchable. "You cannot destroy me," Day's voice continued. "I am beyond your weapons now. I am beyond your understanding. I am the echo of Earth. And that echo will never fade. Every attack you make only proves that my species was right to ask the questions you were afraid to hear." The galaxy's greatest fleets hung in space, helpless against an enemy they could not fight and could not understand. They had come to kill the last human. Instead, they had created something far more dangerous than humanity had ever been. Supreme Coordinator Boram had lived for 300 years. She had seen the galaxy at war and at peace. She had overseen the rise of new civilizations and the fall of old ones, but nothing in her long life had prepared her for the emergency session of the Galactic Council. The holographic displays around the council chamber showed the same impossible data from every angle. One human had defeated the combined military might of 40 different species. Starkiller weapons had failed. Reality-bending technology had been useless. The last human was not just winning. He was teaching the galaxy that they had made a terrible mistake. The casualty reports continued to climb, reported General Sang-ho of the military command. 5 million soldiers dead or missing. Over 2,000 capital ships destroyed, 17 entire fleets completely eliminated. All by one individual who should not exist. The council members shifted uncomfortably in their seats. These were beings who controlled star systems and ruled over billions of subjects. They were used to problems that could be solved with enough firepower or political pressure. This was different. "How is he doing this?" asked Ambassador Wei Jin of the Crystal Collective. "Our best scientists cannot explain his technology. Our greatest warriors cannot match his tactics. Our most powerful weapons cannot touch him." Boram activated her personal datapad and pulled up the classified reports that only the highest levels of government had seen. The truth was more disturbing than the public reports. "According to our intelligence analysis," she said quietly, "the humans spent their final years preparing for this exact scenario. They knew we would eventually move against them, so they created their ultimate survivor." The chamber fell silent as she continued. "Kang Day is not just the last human. He is the culmination of everything his species ever learned or achieved. They poured their entire civilization into making him into the perfect weapon. Every human who ever lived contributed something to what he has become." "That is impossible," protested Admiral Dongsu of the Hegemony. "No single being can contain the knowledge of an entire species. Human neural technology was far more advanced than we realized," Boram replied. "They found ways to compress and transfer consciousness that we are only beginning to understand. Day carries not just his own memories, but the memories of every human who died to create him." The implications hit the council like a physical blow. They had not just killed one species. They had created a living monument to everything that species had ever been. War Master Tae-hyun's report from the front lines made the situation even worse. The human is no longer fighting defensively, he transmitted from his flagship. He has begun moving through our territory, not conquering but liberating resources. He takes what he needs to build more ships, more weapons, more technology we cannot understand. The tactical display showed Day's path through galactic space. System after system went dark as he passed through them, not destroyed but transformed. He was building something with the materials he gathered, but no one could figure out what. He is preparing for something bigger, Tae-hyun continued. Every move he makes serves a larger strategy. We are not fighting a desperate survivor anymore. We are fighting someone who has unlimited time, unlimited resources, and unlimited motivation for revenge. Captain Young Mi had spent months studying the human psychology. Her reports painted a picture that terrified the Council more than any weapon. He is not driven by hatred, she explained through the communication system. This is not about revenge or anger. He genuinely believes he is teaching us a lesson we need to learn. In his mind, every ship he destroys, every fleet he defeats, is part of an educational process. What kind of lesson? Boram asked. That extinction has consequences that go far beyond the species you destroy. By killing humanity, we created something far more dangerous than they ever were when they were alive. We turned a curious, creative species into the ultimate weapon, and now that weapon is showing us exactly what we lost. The war had been going on for 6 months now. Entire sectors of the galaxy had been evacuated as Day's influence spread. Refugee ships filled with alien civilians fled from systems that had been safe for thousands of years. But the strangest part was what the refugees reported. The human was not hurting civilians. He avoided populated worlds and targeted only military installations. When alien families were caught in battle zones, he went out of his way to protect them. He is showing us mercy we did not show his people, Young Mi reported. Even now, even after everything we did to his species, he refuses to become the monster we claimed humans were. Kang Day stood in the command center of his new flagship. It was not really a ship in any traditional sense. It was a living construct made from the combined technology of dozens of species, enhanced by human innovation and powered by his will to survive. Around him, holographic displays showed the state of the galaxy. Millions of beings fleeing their homes in terror, entire civilizations mobilizing for a war they could not win, all because they had been so afraid of humans that they destroyed them completely. The irony was perfect. In trying to prevent humanity from becoming dangerous, they had guaranteed it would return as something far worse. But Day felt no satisfaction from their fear. These beings had families, children, dreams of their own. They were not evil. They were just afraid. And fear, he had learned, made people do terrible things. Computer, he said to his ship's AI, open a channel to the Galactic Council. His message reached every world in the galaxy simultaneously. Billions of beings stopped what they were doing to listen to the last human speak. My name is Kang Day. I am the final human, and I want you to understand something. You killed my species because you were afraid of what we might become. You destroyed my world because we asked questions you did not want to answer. You committed genocide because you thought it would make you safe. The galaxy listened in absolute silence. You were wrong. Safety built on the graves of others is no safety at all. By destroying humanity, you created the very threat you were trying to prevent. You made me into something far more dangerous than my species ever was. Across the galaxy, alien leaders felt cold fear as they realized the truth of his words. But I am still human, and humans, you see, have always believed that any problem can be solved through learning and understanding. Even now, even after everything you have done, I still believe that. So I'm going to teach you one final lesson. The communication ended, leaving the galaxy in terrified silence. The last human was no longer hiding. He was no longer defending. He was coming for them, and he was bringing the accumulated wisdom and fury of his entire dead species with him. The price of extinction was about to be paid in full. Elder statesman Min Ho was 400 years old. He had seen the birth of the Galactic Council and helped write the laws that governed civilized space. He had lived through 3 major wars and countless smaller conflicts. But as he stood before the emergency assembly, his ancient voice shook with defeat. "The war against the last human has lasted 2 full years," he announced to the gathered representatives. "The cost has been beyond calculation. Entire species have gone extinct fighting him. Whole sectors of the galaxy lie empty and lifeless. Our greatest civilizations have been reduced to refugees hiding in the dark corners of space." The assembly hall was mostly empty now. Half the species that had once sat in these chambers were gone. Some had been destroyed in the fighting. Others had simply vanished, fleeing to distant galaxies where the humans' reach could not find them. The military. "Reports make grim reading," continued Admiral Dongsu, one of the few remaining fleet commanders. "We have lost 90% of our combined forces. Our shipyards have been systematically destroyed. Our weapons technology has been proven useless. The human adapts to everything we create faster than we can deploy it." But something had changed. In recent months, the reports from the front lines told a different story than anyone expected. Captain Young Mi, now promoted to intelligence director after most of her superiors had died, presented her analysis to the assembly. "The human's behavior has shifted," she reported. "His attacks have become less frequent and more selective. Where once he struck to kill, now he strikes to teach. The survivors of his attacks report something extraordinary. He shows mercy." The assembly stirred with confusion and hope. "Mercy?" asked Ambassador Wei Jin. "After everything we did to his species?" "The pattern is clear," Youngmi continued. "In the past 6 months, civilian casualties from his attacks have dropped to nearly 0. He goes out of his way to avoid populated worlds. When military installations are near civilian areas, he finds ways to neutralize the threat without harming innocents. He is showing us the restraint we never showed his people." Minister Jun Seo of the Outer Colonies had lost his entire family in the war. His voice was bitter when he spoke. Why? Why show mercy to those who destroyed his world? "We killed every human child, every human parent, every human dream. We turned his blue world into ash and dust. What could possibly motivate him to spare us?" The answer came from an unexpected source. Dr. Min-A, the scientist who had first analyzed the human's capabilities, had spent 2 years studying recordings of his battles. She had found something that changed everything. "Because he is still human," she said quietly. "Despite everything we have done, despite all the modifications and enhancements, despite carrying the fury of his entire dead species, he remains fundamentally human. And humans, we are learning, were never the monsters we claimed they were." The final confrontation did not come with weapons or fleets. It came with words. Kang Day's transmission reached every inhabited world in the galaxy simultaneously, but this time his message was different. The cold anger was gone, replaced by something that sounded almost like sadness. "My name is Kang Day, and I am the last human alive. For 2 years I have fought the combined might of your civilizations. I have destroyed your fleets, scattered your armies, and brought fear to every corner of the galaxy. I did this to teach you a lesson about the price of extinction." Across the galaxy, billions of beings stopped what they were doing to listen. "You feared my species because we grew too quickly, learned too fast, and refused to accept that anything was impossible. You killed us because we asked questions you were not ready to answer. You committed genocide because you thought it would make you safe." His voice carried the weight of absolute loneliness. "But I have learned something in these 2 years of war. Revenge does not bring back the dead. Destroying your civilizations will not rebuild mine. Making you extinct will not make me less alone." The galaxy held its breath. My people were teachers, explorers, dreamers. They looked at the universe and saw infinite possibilities. They believed that any problem could be solved through understanding and cooperation. By killing them, you silenced voices that could have shown you wonders beyond imagination. There was a long pause before he continued. "I could end every one of your civilizations. I have the power, the technology, and the justification. I could make you pay for what you did to my world, my family, my species. But that would make me exactly what you claimed humans were. It would prove that your fear was justified. His voice grew stronger, more certain. Instead, I choose to honor what my people truly were. I choose to forgive you. The words hit the galaxy like a physical shock. Forgiveness. After 2 years of war, after the complete destruction of his species, the last human was offering forgiveness. But forgiveness comes with conditions, Day continued. You will remember humanity not as the threat you destroyed, but as the teachers you never let us become. You will study our history, our culture, our dreams. You will learn what you lost when you chose fear over understanding. And you will ensure that no species ever faces the extinction mine did. The galaxy must never again decide that an entire people deserves to die simply because they are different or inconvenient or frightening. Elder Minho wept openly as he listened. The wisdom in the human's words shamed everything the galaxy had become. I am the last human, but I will not be the last teacher. The lesson my species died to give you will echo through history. Diversity is not a threat to be eliminated. It is a gift to be treasured. Questions are not dangers to be silenced. They are opportunities to grow. The transmission was ending, but Day had one final message. I am leaving now. You will not see me again. But remember that somewhere in the darkness between stars, the last human watches and remembers. And as long as I live, the galaxy will never forget the price of choosing fear over hope. The communication ended, and Kang Day vanished into the deep void between galaxies. Some said his ship folded space around itself and disappeared into dimensions beyond understanding. Others believed he found a way to travel backward through time, to warn his people of what was coming. But most believed he simply went searching for something that had been lost when Earth died. Perhaps he went looking for a way to bring humanity back. Perhaps he went seeking other species that faced extinction, to protect them as no one had protected his people. The galaxy was forever changed. The surviving civilizations established new laws, new principles based on the lesson the last human had taught them. No species would ever again face extinction for being different. No people would be destroyed for asking inconvenient questions. They built monuments to humanity on 1,000 worlds. Libraries filled with human art, music, literature, and science. Schools where alien children learned about the species that had looked at the impossible and asked, why not? And in the darkest corners of space, when explorers found new forms of life or encountered civilizations that seemed strange or frightening, they remembered the last human's words. They remembered that diversity was a gift, not a threat. They remembered that the right to exist was not something that needed to be earned. Some nights, when the galaxy seemed too quiet and the stars too distant, beings would look up at the sky and wonder if somewhere out there, Kang Day was still watching, still teaching, still proving that even in the face of ultimate loss, hope could survive. The last human had kept his final promise to his species. He had made sure that humanity's greatest lesson would never be forgotten. Even death, it turned out, could not stop humans from teaching the universe something important about what it meant to be alive.